With a Venmo debit card, you can Venmo more than just your friends. You can use your balance in so many ways. You can Venmo everything. Need gas? You can Venmo this. How about snacks? You can Venmo that. Your favorite band's merch? You can Venmo this. Or their next show? You can Venmo that. Visit Venmo.me/debit to learn more.
You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo.
The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Card may be used everywhere MasterCard is accepted. Venmo purchase restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. There's only one true way to experience the all-electric luxury SUV Polestar 3, and that's to take a test drive. It can go from 0 to 60 in as little as 4.8 seconds with the dynamic handling of a sports car. But to truly understand how it commands the road, you need to be behind the wheel. Up to 350 miles of range, the 3D surround sound system by Bowers & Wilkins. It's all something you have to experience to believe. So book your test drive for Polestar 3 today at Polestar.com.
Right. So let's face it, job interviews, they can be pretty nerve-wracking. It's like you're trying to figure out the secret code to get that job offer, right?
Yeah.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into interview questions and try to decode what interviewers really want to hear. Consider this your cheat sheet to nailing that next interview. So I think a lot of people get really hung up on trying to find the perfect answer to every single question, but is that really what it's all about?
You know, what's really interesting is that a lot of people, they do get caught up in having that perfect answer, but the secret really lies in understanding what's behind the question, the psychology of it. It's not just about the words that you use.
Oh, okay. So there's a hidden language we got to learn.
Exactly. Yeah. Think about it. Only 7% of communication is the actual words that we speak.
Wow.
The rest is all about how we say it. So your body language, that's a huge chunk, 55% of your message. And then your tone of voice is another 38%.
Okay, that makes so much sense. I've definitely been in those interviews where I'm so nervous, my voice gets all monotone. I probably look like a deer in the headlights. No wonder I didn't get the job, right?
It's a common trap. We get so focused on the content, we forget about the delivery. But, when you understand the 7-38-55 rule, then you realize that how you present yourself is just as important as what you say. So it's about conveying confidence, enthusiasm, genuine interest, and all of that comes through in your posture, your tone, even your eye contact.
I see. So it's almost like a performance.
In a way, yeah. It's about presenting the best version of yourself. You're showcasing your skills, your experience, but also letting your personality shine through.
All right. So now that we've got the basics of communication down, let's dive into some of the trickiest interview questions out there. Those questions that make you kind of freeze up a little bit when you hear them. What do you think?
Yeah, let's tackle those. And, rather than just giving you some canned response, I want to give you a framework, something you can use to build your own, genuine and impactful answers that'll really resonate with interviewers.
Love it. So let's start with a classic, the dreaded tell me about yourself. It seems simple enough, but what's the real strategy here?
Well, it seems simple, but it's all about setting the stage. You're crafting a narrative that showcases your unique journey. So you're highlighting what makes you. It's not about just reciting your resume. It's about telling a story that'll capture their attention and make them want to learn more.
Okay. So less robot, more human.
Exactly. Think about what sparked your interest in this field, what experiences you've had that have shaped your path, what values drive you. Let me give you an example. If you're passionate about finance, don't just say, oh, I'm good with numbers, Share what drew you to the world of finance. What excites you about it? Was it a specific mentor, a fascination with the stock market, or maybe a desire to help people manage their money? Those little personal touches, those make a difference.
Ah, okay, I see. So it's all about making a connection, showing them you're not just a list of skills on a piece of paper, but a real person. Someone with passions, motivations.
Exactly. You want to stand out from the crowd. And the best way to do that is by letting your true self, your authentic self, shine through.
Okay, so moving on to another question that could be a bit tricky. Why is there a gap in your resume? I feel like a lot of people get kind of flustered by that one, right?
They do. But remember, this question is less about the gap itself and more about what you did during that time. So it's a chance for you to demonstrate that you're proactive and that you're committed to growth.
So instead of saying something like, well, I was, kind of looking for a job.
Exactly. Don't say that. Think about what you did during that time to improve your skills, to broaden your knowledge, to pursue your interests. Did you take any online courses? Did you volunteer? Did you freelance, travel? Maybe you started a personal project or you just dedicated some time to developing a new skill. All of that shows the interviewer that you're not someone who sits still. You're constantly seeking to learn and grow.
Ah, okay, so it's about turning what could be seen as a negative into a positive. You're showcasing your drive, your initiative.
Precisely. You want to highlight that you have a growth mindset and that you're committed to making the most of every opportunity.
Okay, this next question almost feels like philosophical. What motivates you? I mean, what do you even say to that?
Yeah, it can be. And a lot of people, they stumble here because they try to give like the perfect answer. But interviewers, they're really looking for authenticity. They want to understand what drives you, what gets you excited, what makes you you, you know?
So it's about connecting, like, your personal motivations with the role and the company.
Exactly. So for instance, if you're motivated by making a positive impact on the world, connect that to the company's mission or their values. Do they have a commitment to, let's say, sustainability, community development, social justice? Highlight how your personal drive aligns with their goals. You're showing them you're not just looking for any job. You're looking for a job that resonates with what you believe in.
I see. So it's about finding that, like, sweet spot where your passions and their needs kind of intersect.
Exactly. And when you're genuinely excited about the work, it shows. It shows in your energy, it shows in your enthusiasm. And remember, your tone of voice, your body language, they're going to amplify that message.
All right, let's tackle another big one. Why are you applying for this position? Again, seems straightforward, but is it?
There's definitely more to it than meets the eye. This question is really about showing them you've done your research, you understand the role, you understand the company, and you understand how you can contribute. This is not about flattery, okay? It's about demonstrating a genuine fit.
Right, so not just something like, well, it seems like a great opportunity.
Right. Think about what specifically excites you about this particular role at this particular company. Have you been following their work? Do you admire their products? Are you intrigued by their initiatives? Highlight those specific aspects and connect them to your own skills and experiences.
Okay, so it's like you're kind of painting this picture of how you see yourself fitting into their puzzle.
Exactly. You want to show them that you understand their goals and that your skills and experience can help them achieve those goals. It's about presenting yourself as the solution, not just an applicant.
This is great. I feel like we're really starting to, like, crack the code on these interview questions.
And we're just getting started. There's so much more to uncover. Okay, so let's move on to another question that can be a little tricky. Walk me through your resume. Now, it could be tempting to, just repeat what's already there on the page, but that's really a missed opportunity.
Yeah, because they've already got the resume in front of them, right? So what are they really looking for with this?
Well, they want to see you bring those experiences to life. It's like you're adding color to those black and white bullet points. Instead of just listing your past roles, you're going to tell a story about your journey, highlight your accomplishments, put some numbers to those results whenever you can, and most importantly, emphasize those skills and experiences that really connect with the job you're interviewing for.
So it's like creating a highlight reel of your career, hitting all those key points that make you stand out.
Exactly. And remember, you're the one telling the story. You're in control of that narrative, so you can guide the conversation. You can say something like, would you like me to focus on my most recent role, or should I start from the beginning? That shows them you're adaptable and you're really focused on giving them the information that they're looking for.
Okay, so this next question kind of echoes a previous one. We talked about, why do you want to work here? I feel like that's very similar to, why are you applying for this position? Is there a subtle difference?
Yeah, you're right. There is a little nuance there. While both questions, are about your interest, this one zooms out a little bit. It's less about the specific role and more about your overall impression of the company. So they want to know, why are you drawn to them? Their culture, their values, their mission. It's about showing them that you've done your homework and you're genuinely excited about, being a part of their team.
So it's like you're saying, I'm not just here for a job. I'm here because I believe in what you do and I want to be part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. For instance, you could say something like, I'm really drawn to your commitment to, let's say, innovation and employee development. I think my values really align with yours, and I'm excited about the opportunity to, learn and grow in that kind of supportive environment. It's about finding those points of connection and showing them that you're not just looking for a paycheck, you're looking for a place where you can really thrive.
Okay, now for the question that I think makes a lot of people squirm, why are you the best person for this job? It feels like a trap. Like you have to brag about yourself and put other people down.
Yeah, I can see why it feels that way, but this question is actually a gift. It's a chance for you to connect the dot between what they need and your unique qualifications. So instead of comparing yourself to other candidates, just focus on what you bring to the table.
So not, well, I'm better than the other guys because...
No, no, don't do that. Instead, you could say something like, from our conversation today, it sounds like you're looking for someone who can, and then mention a key challenge or skill that they've talked about. Now, in my previous role at previous company, I actually tackled a similar challenge and then describe your approach and the results you achieved, use numbers if you can. So I'm confident that I can bring that same drive and problem-solving ability to this team.
Okay, so it's about positioning yourself as the solution to their problem, showing them that you understand their needs and that you have the experience to meet those needs.
Precisely. And by, weaving in those specific details from the conversation, you're showing that you're listening, you're paying attention, and you're tailoring your responses to what they need.
I'm loving this. I feel like I'm learning so much.
Me too. It's really fascinating to kind of dig into the psychology behind these questions and uncover the hidden messages that they're sending.
Right, into a question that always seems to make me think about, like fortune tellers. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's like they're asking you to predict the future.
Haha, it can feel that way. But remember, they're not looking for some kind of, magical prediction. And what they're looking for is a glimpse into your ambition, your career goals, how you see yourself growing within the company.
So not something vague like, I hope to be in a management position, or worse, I want to have your job.
No, no, avoid those pitfalls. Instead, focus on your professional development. How do you see your aspirations aligning with their growth? You might say, in 5 years, I see myself as a valuable member of this team. I want to have expanded my skill set in, and then mention areas that are relevant to their business, and I want to be taking on more responsibility.
So it's about showing them you're in it for the long haul. You're not just passing through. You're committed to growing with the company.
Exactly. It's showing your ambition, but it's also showing that you understand that growth is a process. It's a journey, not a destination.
This is really making a lot of sense. I feel like I'm seeing these questions in a whole new light.
That's what we're going for, uncovering those layers, equipping you with the knowledge you need to, really navigate these questions with confidence.
Okay, now this next one seems to be revisiting familiar territory. What interests you about this position? Isn't that basically the same as why are you applying for this position?
It might seem that way at first, but there is a subtle difference here. This question invites you to go deeper. It's about pinpointing the specific things about this role that get you excited. The details that make this position stand out from all the others.
So instead of just saying it seems like a challenging role or I think I'd be good at it,
Right, those are way too vague. You want to show them that you've actually gone beyond the job title. You've looked at the responsibilities, the projects, the challenges. You could say something like, I'm particularly interested in the opportunity to, and then mention a specific responsibility from the job description, and to contribute to mention a project or initiative that they've talked about. The idea of working on such innovative projects with a team that's so passionate about, mention a value they've highlighted, that's what really excites me.
so it's moving beyond the surface and really showing them that you've thought about what it would be like to actually do the job.
Precisely. It shows that you're engaged, you're curious, and you're genuinely interested in the work itself.
Okay, so this one is similar to a previous one, but with a slight twist. Why are you a good fit for this position? Didn't we already cover this with why are you the best person for the job?
You're right to spot the similarity. Both questions are about your qualifications, but this one invites you to talk more about the idea of fit. It's not just about having the right skills, it's about aligning with their company culture, their team dynamics, their work environment.
So it's like you're saying, yeah, I have the skills, but I also have the personality and the work ethic to really thrive here.
Exactly. You want to paint a picture of how you see yourself fitting in seamlessly with their team. For example, you could say, in my previous role at previous company, I was responsible for describe a relevant responsibility which required mention some of the skills you used. This experience, combined with my mention a personality trait that's relevant to the role, makes me confident that I can hit the ground running and make a real contribution to your team.
So it's not just about competence, it's about compatibility. You're showing them you're not just a skilled worker, you're a good fit for their team.
Precisely. And remember, your tone of voice, your body language, all of that should reinforce this message. You want to project confidence and enthusiasm. Make them believe that you can really see yourself thriving in this role.
All right, so now let's dive into the world of behavioral questions. Those tricky ones that ask you to tell stories about your past experiences. Starting with, tell me about a time where you dealt with a tough challenge. I always get nervous with these. It's like they're trying to trick me.
I understand why they can be intimidating. But remember, these questions aren't meant to trick you. They're designed to assess your past behavior as a way of predicting your future performance. And the key here is to use what's called the STAR method. That stands for situation, task, action, and result. It's a really clear and concise framework for telling your story.
So instead of just saying, oh, I'm good at problem solving or I work well under pressure.
Exactly. You need to tell a compelling story that brings your experience to life. So, for instance, you might say, in my previous role, we were faced with a tight deadline for a major project. That's the situation. My task was to describe your specific responsibility. To address this, I described the actions you took, emphasizing the skills that are relevant to the role. As a result, describe the positive outcome, and again, use numbers whenever you can.
So you're not just claiming that you can handle pressure, you're showing them that you have handled pressure and achieved positive results.
Exactly. And by using the STAR method, you make sure that your story is clear, concise, and memorable.
Okay, so this next question feels like the grand finale of the interview. Why should we hire you? It's like your closing argument, right?
It is. It's your chance to summarize why you're the best choice. But instead of just repeating your qualifications, you want to connect the dots, paint the bigger picture.
So not just, well, I have all the skills and experience you're looking for.
No, that's not enough. You want to go deeper. You could say something like, it sounds like you're looking for someone who can mention a key challenge or goal they've mentioned I bring to the table, mention a relevant skill and a proven track record of mention a relevant achievement. I'm confident that I can not only meet, but exceed your expectations in this role.
So you're making them visualize you in the role, seeing the value that you would bring to the team.
Exactly. And remember, your tone of voice, your body language should convey confidence and enthusiasm. You want to leave them with a lasting impression that makes them excited about bringing you on board.
All right, let's tackle a question that often makes people squirm. What are your weaknesses? It feels like they're trying to get you to sabotage yourself.
Yeah, I get why it feels that way, but this question isn't about revealing some fatal flaw. It's about showing self-awareness and a commitment to growth.
So none of those cliche answers like, I'm a perfectionist or I work too hard.
Exactly. Those are not only overused, but they don't really show any genuine insight. So choose a weakness that A, is not critical to the role, and B, is something that you've been actively working on improving. For example, you might say, in the past, I sometimes struggled with mention a specific weakness. However, I've been actively working on this by describe the steps you've taken to improve. As a result, I've seen significant progress and mention how you've improved.
So it's about showing them that you're not afraid to acknowledge areas where you can grow and that you're proactive about self-improvement.
Precisely. It shows maturity and a growth mindset, which are qualities that employers really value.
Okay, let's talk about a question that's all about showcasing your initiative. Tell me about a time when you went above and beyond. What are some key things to keep in mind here?
This question is all about demonstrating that you're not just someone who does the bare minimum. You're someone who's willing to go that extra mile. You want to highlight a specific time when you took initiative, you exceeded expectations, and you made a real impact.
So not just talking about, doing my regular duties or giving 110% all the time.
Right. Those answers are way too generic. You need to give a specific example that really shows your proactive nature. And again, the STAR method is your friend here. You might say, in my previous role, we were describe a challenging situation. Recognizing the potential impact, I took the initiative to describe the actions you took that went above and beyond your regular duties, and as a result, describe the positive outcome you achieved.
So it's about painting a picture of yourself as someone who's not afraid to take ownership, to step up and make a difference.
Exactly, and by providing a concrete example, you make your story much more believable and memorable.
Okay, let's move on to a question that seems pretty straightforward but still requires some careful consideration. Tell me about a time when you reached a goal. What's the best way to approach this one?
This is your chance to showcase your goal-setting abilities, your perseverance, your ability to achieve results. But instead of just mentioning a goal you reached, you want to walk them through your process, how you got there.
So more than just, I reached my sales target last quarter.
Right, give them some context. You could say, in my previous roles, I set a goal to mention a specific, challenging goal. To achieve this, I described the steps you took, highlighting your relevant skills and qualities. I faced some challenges along the way, mention a challenge you overcame, but I stayed focused, and as a result, describe the positive outcome you achieved.
So you're not just someone who drifts along. You're someone who sets ambitious goals, makes a plan, and takes action to achieve them.
Exactly. And by sharing your process, you're giving them valuable insight into your work ethic, your problem-solving abilities, and your commitment to excellence.
Okay, this next question can be a bit sensitive depending on the circumstances. Why did you leave your last job? How do you answer this honestly without bad-mouthing your previous employer?
Honesty is key, but it's also about framing your departure in a positive light. Focus on what you're seeking in your next role, rather than dwelling on the negatives of your previous one.
So definitely not, I hated my boss or the company was going downhill.
Absolutely not. Avoid negativity at all costs. You want to emphasize your desire for growth, new challenges, opportunities that align with your career aspirations. You might say, while I enjoyed my time at previous company and I learned a great deal, I'm looking for an opportunity that allows me to mention a specific aspect you're seeking, like greater responsibility, a new challenge, or a chance to develop specific skills. I believe this role offers that opportunity.
So you're turning a potentially negative situation into a positive statement about your career goals.
Precisely. And remember, even if your departure wasn't ideal, avoid speaking negatively about your previous employer. Focus on what you learned and what you're looking forward to in the future.
All right, time for a question that feels like a chance to shine. What are your strengths? How do you highlight your best qualities without sounding arrogant?
This is your opportunity to showcase those strengths that are most relevant to the role and back them up with evidence. But remember, it's not about bragging, it's about providing specific examples that demonstrate your abilities.
So not just a list of adjectives like hardworking, dedicated, results-oriented.
Right, those words don't mean much without context. You want to choose strengths that align with the job description and then illustrate them with stories. So you might say, one of my key strengths is my ability to mention a strength that's relevant to the role. In my previous role, I demonstrated this by describing a specific situation and outcome. I'm also highly mention another relevant strength, which allows me to describe how this strength benefits a team or a project.
So showing your skills in action, making them see the tangible value you bring to the table.
Exactly. And remember, your tone and body language should reinforce your confidence in your abilities project, that air of, quiet confidence that makes them believe in your strengths as much as you do.
Okay, this next question could be a bit tricky. What are you most proud of? It feels like it could go in a lot of different directions.
It can, but the key is to keep it professional and relevant to your career. They want to see what drives you, what motivates you to excel, what makes you tick.
So, not about my family, my pets, or my latest baking triumph?
Haha, exactly. Those are all wonderful things, but they're not relevant to this interview. You want to focus on a professional accomplishment that showcases your skills, your values, your impact. You might say, I'm most proud of the time I describe a challenging project or initiative. It was demanding, but I persevered and ultimately described the positive outcome you achieved. This experience taught me the importance of mention, a valuable lesson or skill, and it really solidified my passion for mention a relevant area.
So sharing a moment that reveals your character, your dedication, and your ability to make a difference.
Precisely. And by sharing your passion and the lessons you've learned, you're creating a deeper connection with the interviewer.
Okay, this question often comes up for experienced professionals. Describe what you do in your current job. How do you make this relevant to the role you're interviewing for?
The key is to tailor your response to the specific needs of this new role. Highlight the aspects of your current job that are most transferable and demonstrate the skills and experience they're looking for.
So not just giving them a laundry list of my daily tasks or a detailed job description.
Right, focus on those transferable skills. You could say, in my current role, I'm responsible for mention a key responsibility that aligns with the new role. This involves described specific tasks and skills used, and it requires me to mention any relevant qualities like attention to detail, problem solving, communication skills. I've also gained valuable experience in mention another relevant area which I believe would be directly applicable to this role.
So showing them how your current experience has prepared you for the challenges and responsibilities of this new position.
Exactly, and by highlighting those transferable skills, you're making it easy for them to see how you would fit into their team.
This next one is obviously for people applying for leadership positions. What is your management style? How do you answer this authentically without resorting to buzzwords or textbook definitions?
It's tempting to fall into that trap of using jargon, but what interviewers really want to see is your self-awareness as a leader and how your approach aligns with their company culture. So personalize it, give them concrete examples.
So not just I'm a transformational leader or I believe in servant leadership.
Right, those labels don't mean much without context. You might say, I believe in a collaborative management style that empowers team members to contribute their unique skills and perspectives. For example, in my previous role, I describe a specific situation where you successfully implemented your management style. I also believe and mention a key leadership principle you value, which helps to foster and describe a positive team environment.
So showcasing your leadership philosophy in action, showing how it translates into real-world results.
Precisely. And remember, your tone and body language should convey confidence and demand authenticity. You want to project that air of leadership that makes them believe in your ability to guide and inspire a team.
Okay, let's dive into another behavioral question. Tell me about a mistake that you made. This one always feels a bit like a trap, like they're trying to catch me out.
I get it. It can feel that way. But remember, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is your ability to own up to them, learn from them, and grow. Choose a real mistake, not something trivial, but also not something catastrophic. Focus on the lessons you learned and how those lessons have shaped you as a professional.
So not, I can't think of anything, or I never make mistakes.
Definitely not. Those answers are unrealistic and they show a lack of self-awareness. Be honest, authentic. You could say, in a previous project, I underestimated the time needed for a particular task, and it led to a delay in the overall timeline. I learned from that experience the importance of careful planning and communication, and now I always describe a specific action you now take to prevent similar mistakes. As a result, I've become much more effective at managing my time and meeting deadlines.
So turning a negative experience into a positive, showing them you're capable of self-reflection, continuous improvement, and that you're not afraid to admit when you've messed up.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're a lifelong learner and that you're always striving to improve your skills and your performance.
This is great. I feel like I'm gaining so many valuable insights. I can't wait to hear more.
We're just getting started. There are so many more fascinating questions to explore, and I'm excited to dive deeper into the psychology behind them.
All right, so this next question makes me feel a little, I don't know, exposed. It's, tell me about a time you made a mistake. It feels like they're trying to, catch you in a lie or something.
I can understand that, but this question, it's not a trap. It's a chance to show that you're self-aware, you can learn from things, setbacks, and that you want to grow.
So it's not about pretending I'm like perfect, never made a mistake.
Definitely not. Everybody makes mistakes, right? The important thing is how you handle them. So choose a real mistake, no too small, but also, nothing that's going to send up a red flag. Focus on what happened, the actions you took, what you learned, and how you've used that to become better at what you do.
Okay, so like not, oh, I forgot to attach a file to an email once.
Yeah, that's a bit too einder. You want something that actually had an impact, but also shows you can learn and grow. Maybe something like, in a past project, I didn't estimate the time needed for a task very well, and it took way longer than I thought. That caused some delays and put a strain on the team. What I learned from that was how important it is to plan carefully, break big tasks into smaller ones, and communicate with everyone on the team. So now I always describe a specific thing you do to prevent similar mistakes. And as a result, I'm much better at managing my time and getting projects done on time.
She's made up her mind to live pretty smart. Learn to budget responsibly right from the start. She spends a little less and puts more into savings. Keeps her blood pressure low and credit score raises. She's cutting debt right out of her life. She tracks her cash flow on a spreadsheet at night.
Boring money moves make kinda lame songs, but they sound pretty sweet to your wallet. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865.
When you hear Lululemon, you probably think of Align yoga pants, weightlessly soft, like you're wearing next to nothing. That's why you see them in class, at the grocery store, and in the park. But did you know about skirts with built-in liner shorts so you can still jump for the Frisbee? And tanks and bodysuits? With Align's iconic stretch, you won't want to take it off. And with endless style options, you don't have to. Shop in-store or online at Lululemon.com.
So it's taking something negative and turning it into a positive. Showing that you learned from it and you're a stronger professional because of it.
Exactly. You're showing you're not afraid to say you were wrong and that you always want to get better.
Okay, good. This one feels lighter. What are you passionate about? Like, finally, I can be myself, right?
Yeah, you can, but keep it professional. Connect it back to the job and the company. They want to see that you're not just enthusiastic about any job, but about this one, this opportunity.
So, talking about my love for underwater basket weaving or repetitive thumb twiddling.
Oh, right. Those are great passions, but not for this conversation. Focus on what excites you about this work. For example, I'm passionate about finding creative solutions to tough problems. Like in my last role, there was this project where briefly describe a challenging project that you enjoyed. I want to bring that same energy and dedication to this role.
So it's showing your passion for the actual work and how that fits with the company's mission.
Exactly. And when you're genuinely passionate, it shows, your energy, your enthusiasm. It's contagious.
Okay, this next one is all about being prepared. What do you know about our company? Time to show off all that research, right?
Yep, exactly. They're checking your initiative, your interest in them. Did you just glance at their website, or did you really dig in and learn about their history, their culture, what they do, what they stand for?
So no reciting their mission statement from memory or anything.
No, go deeper than that. Say something like, I was really impressed by your company's recent mention, a specific thing that impressed you, like an initiative, a product, a program, etc. It really resonates with my own values, and it shows me you're a company that's making a difference.
So it's showing that I understand them and that I'm not just like randomly applying to every job posting I see?
Exactly. You've done your homework, and you're genuinely interested.
Okay, this one seems straightforward, but is there a way to make it stand out? How did you hear about this job?
Yep, go beyond just stating the source, like, it's on your website. You want to tie it back to your interest.
So instead of I saw it on Indeed.
Try something like, I saw the posting on Indeed, and what really caught my eye was mention something specific about the role or company that grabbed your attention. I've been following your work in relevant area for a while now, and this role seems like a great fit for my background.
Okay, so turn a simple answer into a mini pitch for myself. Got it. Now the one we all dread. What are your salary requirements? This always feels so awkward. How do I answer this without, like, shooting myself in the foot?
It can be tricky, but the key is preparation. Do your research. Use sites like salary.com or Glassdoor to see what similar roles pay in your area. Once you have an idea of the going rate, you can give them a range that reflects your value.
So not like I'm open to negotiation or just blurting out the first number that comes to mind.
Nope. One is too passive and the other could be a mistake. Find that balance of knowing your worth and being a little flexible. You could say, based on my experience and what I've seen, I'm looking for something in the range of, mention your range. But of course, I'm happy to discuss this further based on the specific responsibilities and benefits.
So I've done my homework, I know what I'm worth, but I'm also willing to talk about it.
Exactly. And by giving a range, you're showing you're not being rigid.
Good to know. Okay, how about this one? How do you handle pressure? I don't want to sound like I either crumble under pressure or that I'm like some kind of pressure-proof robot.
The sweet spot is showing that you understand pressure is normal in any job, but you have ways to deal with it. You stay calm, focused, and get things done, even when things are tough.
So not I thrive under pressure or pressure doesn't bother me.
Too simple and maybe a little hard to believe. Give a specific example. The STAR method is your friend here too. In my previous role, I had to describe a high-pressure situation. To manage it, I described what you did. Prioritizing, delegating, whatever worked for you, and the result was positive outcome.
Showing I've got the tools to handle stress and still get result. Makes sense. Now this one comes up if the job might involve moving. Are you open to relocating? Pretty straightforward, but any tips?
Be honest and direct. If you're open to it, show your enthusiasm. If not, explain why clearly and respectfully.
So if I'm okay with moving, I'd say.
Yes, I'm definitely open to relocating. I'm actually excited about the chance to experience a new city, and I'm sure I can make the transition smoothly.
And if it's a no-go?
You could say, while relocating isn't possible for me right now, I'm very interested in this opportunity. Could we maybe discuss remote work or other arrangements?
So being upfront, but also showing I'm willing to work things out.
Yep, you're open to finding a solution.
Okay, how about what is your dream job? I don't want to sound like I'm not focused on this job or that my dream job is like completely unrealistic.
The trick is to connect your dream job to this job. What aspects of your dream job align with this company, this role? It shows you have goals, but you also see this opportunity as a step toward them.
So no talking about becoming a, I don't know, professional unicorn trainer or something.
Aha, right. Keep it grounded. You might say, my dream job involves mention things relevant to this role, like leading a team, solving problems, having an impact, and I see this role as a way to build those skills and contribute to specific company goal.
Showing I'm ambitious, but also that this job makes sense for me. Got it. Now this one comes up if I'm switching careers. Why are you changing careers? I don't want to sound like I'm running away from my old career.
It's your chance to explain your reasons and show how your experience does transfer over. Be honest about why this new field interests you and how your skills make you a good fit.
So not just I'm burned out or I need a change.
Too vague. Be more specific. I enjoyed my time in old field, but I've always been drawn to new field. My background in relevant skill gives me a solid base, and I'm ready to use those skills in this new context.
Okay, so it's a positive move, a step forward, not running away from something.
Exactly. You're showing you've thought it through and that your skills are transferable.
Okay, last question, and it's one we ask. Do you have any questions for us? This is our chance to, like, shine, right?
It is, but it's not about showing off. It's about gathering info, getting a feel for their culture, showing genuine interest, have some good questions ready that go beyond the basics, show you're thinking and engaged.
So nope, I think you covered everything, or I'm good.
Makes you sound passive. You want to be curious. Some examples. What are the biggest challenges the team's facing right now? Shows you're thinking strategically. Or what are the opportunities for development and growth here? Shows ambition and a desire to learn. And what's the company culture like, and how would you describe the team? Shows you care about fit and a positive work environment.
Asking questions that show I'm not just looking for a job, I'm looking for the right job.
Exactly. Thoughtful questions make you memorable and show you're invested.
Wow, this has been amazing. I feel so much more prepared for my next interview.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, it's not just about having the perfect answers. It's about being authentic, confident, and understanding what they're really looking for.
And that 738-55 rule, body language and tone of voice matter.
They do. If you master these techniques, you won't just ace the interview, you'll have the skills to succeed anywhere.
This deep dive has been incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
It was my pleasure. Remember, you have the power to shape your own success. Believe in yourself, prepare well, and go after what you want.
That's a great message to end on. Thank you for listening to The Deep Dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.